What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Yami Noob. Today we're looking at 5 things I kind of don't really love about the Yamaha MT03. So this video is actually a collaboration with Chase on 2 Wheels. Chase is a really cool guy, runs a really awesome channel, much higher production value than anything we do here at Yami Noob. And if you want, go and check out his video about the top 5 things he loves about his MT03 after you watch this one, because we collaborated on it and it was pretty cool. So this is our giveaway, Yamaha MT03, YamiNoob.co. You're into the deal, sign up to win this thing, tons of other bikes. I've spent a fair bit of time with this motorcycle. I know this platform pretty well. I used to own a Yamaha R3. We did a giveaway R3 last year, and now we have this MT03. So I'm pretty familiar with this bike. So today I'm gonna look over 5 things I don't really love about it, but I do wanna say these are things that are my own opinion. They're the opinions of a more experienced motorcyclist. A lot of the points I'm gonna make today are actually pretty good for beginners, but some of the things that I think could be addressed on this motorcycle should be addressed from the factory. So without further ado, let's get into point number 1. All right, guys, my first gripe with the MT03 is the throttle. Now, it's not the throttle feel itself. I feel like this bike is fueled pretty well, actually, and it has a good actuation. It's fuel injected, it works all good. No, the thing that actually kind of grinds my gears a little bit about this bike is how long the throw is from completely closed to open throttle. So it's got a very long tube to get to open, so you twist super far to get it wide open. Now, for a beginner rider, that's a great thing because you don't want to be accidentally wide open throttle when you don't want to be. So for beginners when they're just starting out, a very wide throttle like this is a great thing. For more experienced riders such as myself, it's quite annoying to go like this to get all the way to open throttle. You have to really twist all the way around to get it there. So that is a little bit annoying here on the MT03. The next point I want to talk about on the MT03 are, in fact, its brakes. Now, I've mentioned this before in videos that I don't think the brakes on the MT03 are that spectacular, but I do feel like that's a little bit unfair. The MT03 actually has a pretty beginner-friendly budget price, and you can't really expect a super high-quality braking system on a bike that doesn't even cost $5,000 on the showroom floor. However, I do think it's a little inexcusable for how bad they actually do feel. Yamaha could have tried a little bit harder to increase the braking quality on this motorcycle, because right now, even for a beginner rider, I do think they're going to experience that wooden feeling that I often talk about on this motorcycle. So the things we're going to do to address that problem actually are going to be swapping out the fluid and swapping out the pads. Those are 2 really easy things you can do to your motorcycle to make sure that you increase the brake quality and the brake feel. If you really wanted to go all in, you could swap out the brake master cylinder up here on this motorcycle, but I think that's a bit overkill for most beginner riders. In fact, the Ninja 400 endurance bike that I run for CMRA with a couple buddies of mine actually has a Brembo RCS on it, and it is night and day between what that thing can do. Additionally, having an ABS system on this motorcycle will hinder its performance for braking as well from a very racing and track oriented perspective, but I do think it's great to have ABS on this motorcycle. So if you can buy it with ABS, highly recommend you do so. My next gripe with the MT03 and number 3 on today's list is, in fact, its engine. Now, this is a very beginner-friendly engine. It's a very robust engine, very reliable, super great. However, in the category today, you got things like the Ninja 400, the Duke 390, you have things like even like the Honda CBR 500, which is a little bit more expensive, but all of a sudden, this cheater 321cc engine that Yamaha came out with back in 2015 is starting to look a little slow. Things like the Ninja 400 feel a lot faster. The Duke 390 feels so much more effervescent and playful. And when you consider that something like the Svartpillen 401 costs $5,000 on the showroom floor, and this costs $45.99, this all of a sudden doesn't look so great. So Yamaha's engine here, this 321cc mill, although it is super beginner appropriate, a great and approachable engine, you'll have tons of fun learning how to ride with this thing, is not the best option in the marketplace today, in my opinion. The next point I think it's super important to talk about, and one of my gripes with the MT03, is that it's just a little too compact. Here, I'll mount up and show you. I'm about 5'11", 6 foot with all my riding gear on, and sitting here in this motorcycle, it is just about as small of a bike as I could ride. My knees are a little cramped, a little compact in here. Spite, our resident cruiser boy, is a bit larger than I am at about 6'2", 6'3", and his knees come up right against the tank here, and he literally does not fit on this motorcycle. So I think something like the Duke 390, even the Ninja 400, is a little bit more accommodating for riders of a larger size. So the MT03 here is definitely a smaller rider's motorcycle with this ergonomics package. It's just a little bit too small for me, and the seat height is a little bit too low. However, that is a great thing for beginner riders because you can put both feet down super easily, have a bend in your legs, and easily maneuver this motorcycle. So while it is a bit of a bad thing for me, and I don't exactly fit on this thing, I think for a smaller rider, this motorcycle makes a lot of sense. My fifth and final gripe with this motorcycle, and something I dislike about it, is that I feel like Yamaha just kind of phoned it in a little bit when it came to making changes to make this more distinct over the R3. I feel like they could have tried a little bit more to make this a little bit more differentiated from the R3 and to fit in line with the MT line of bikes a little bit better. The MT bikes are known for being torquey and fun and upright and naked, and while this does succeed, it's got a different gas tank on it and the upright bars. I do wish that the gearing was a little bit different. That's something we addressed with this motorcycle. I do wish that they had changed the characteristics of the engine a little bit, because literally from the tail down and from the gas tank down here, this motorcycle is just a Yamaha R3 without the bodywork. It's just not different enough, in my opinion, to warrant calling it an MT bike. You look at something like the R1 versus the MT10, those are two very different motorcycles. One has a detuned engine, it's geared differently, a lot of things are different on it. It's got a whole new dash here, it's all different. The R1 is a proper super bike, race replica, that sort of thing. I do wish the Yamaha spent just a little bit more time in the shop, in the laboratory, in the R&D department, whatever you want to call it, to actually tighten this thing up and make it just a little bit more different than the R3, because as it sits right now, when you go out and ride it, it feels super similar to an R3, and I wish that it had more of that MT DNA and that more torquey, upright, naked, fun factor quality to it. So guys, that's gonna round out my 5 things that I dislike about this motorcycle. Be sure to check out Chase on 2 Wheels' video about the 5 things that he loves about his MT03, because this is not a bad motorcycle. There's a lot of things to like here, and I think it makes a ton of sense for beginner riders. It's one of the cheapest bikes in the category. It's a ton of fun to ride, and with a couple modifications, it is a true gem of a motorcycle. So be sure to check out his video. Thanks for watching this one. Catch you on the next one. Hey, thanks for watching the video. Why don't you click this one right over here and you can keep watching some more of your sweet Papa Yam. Maybe this one will have fun memes in it. Maybe it'll be interesting. Maybe I crash a motorcycle. Who can say? Maybe you should click and find out.